orphans in Parliament. The parliamentarian Jayashree Ranga made this comment at an event held at the Darawala Tamil College in Hatton, Tikkoya recently.
In 1994, the President came in as the Minister of Labour. In 1998, he took the portfolio of fisheries. In 2002, he became the leader of the opposition. In 2004, he was the Prime Minister, and in 2005, he was the President. Today, if you go in a vehicle to Hambantota, you can see all the carpeted roads, an airport and a harbour. We have been made to beg for a plot of land to construct a preschool. From 1977, political parties represented in Nuwara have had ministerial positions. The Minister for Hambantota came into power in 1994. So from 1994 to 2013, if so much has been done there, then what have you been doing with your ministerial position since 1977? Certain parliamentarians representing the Nuwara district have become political orphans in Parliament. General Secretary of the Citizens Front, MP Jayashree Ranga, donated exercise books and a computer to students at the school during this event.
The official website of the 2013 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting was launched in Colombo today. Speaking at the occasion, Minister of External Affairs Professor G.L. Pires noted that the Chogam will be the largest international event organized by Sri Lanka since the non-aligned movement in 1976.
The event, which was held at the Ministry of External Affairs, was held under the auspices of Minister Professor G.L. Pires.
This is the first time after 24 years when a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting is taking place anywhere in the continent of Asia. And in November there will be 53 heads of government, foreign ministers and other dignitaries participating in this event, which is the largest international event to take place in our country since the non-aligned conference took place in 1976.
The event was also graced by a distinguished gathering including Minister Kelly Rambukwala and Deputy Minister of External Affairs Numal Pereira.
Because there have been very many critics making comments. There were so many objections, so many statements made against having inability to have it, and then also in relation to human rights and various other areas which I feel is not related to the main event. If anything falls short, then that will reflect and they will say that this is exactly what we mentioned and what we stated. So therefore our responsibility is much more than any other country, I think any other host country.
A group of farmers in the Anuradhapura district charged that their paddy cultivations and the cultivation of supplementary crops too for the Yala season has been put at risk as they have not received fertilizer.
Farmers from 15 farmer societies in the Anuradhapura district who converged on the Kakirawa town staged a demonstration today, even though they paid money for the subsidized fertilizer 2 months ago. For 2 seasons now, farmers have been left disappointed as their crops were destroyed. This time around, there is water, but the people have no fertilizer. The paddy stalks are not even 4 inches long. We are in debt to every single bank and have mortgaged our belongings to the tune of hundreds of thousands. We paid the money on the 20th of April. Here are the receipts. Look at this receipt. Look at when we paid the money. Why did they take the money if they cannot give the fertilizer? Meanwhile, small tea estate owners who converged on the Akurasa town in Mathura today allege that they are not receiving the subsidized fertilizer at the proper time. The funds for the subsidized fertilizer that we secured after much difficulty after taking to the streets are not being provided to the relevant institutions by the government. Therefore, we are not receiving the fertilizer that we need. Over the past 2 years, they increased the price of subsidized fertilizer by 300 rupees. The fertilizer that we do receive is of a low quality. We made inquiries from the Department of Agrarian Services, which is responsible for the distribution of fertilizer, regarding the allegations that have been levelled. Taking a look back at some local stories, the 19th Amendment, which is aimed at amending the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, is likely to be tabled in Parliament tomorrow. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Kehele Rambukwala expressed the following views at a media briefing held last Thursday on the tabling of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution.
It was decided to remove all provisions for the merging of two provinces. With regards to the other amendments, it was decided to appoint a select committee to discuss matters within a specific time frame. I am clearly stating that the government has no intention of postponing the elections that are scheduled to take place in September.
සැප්තැම්බර් මාසයේ තිබන්නට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන මැතිවරණය මොන ආකාරයකින් හෝ කල් දැමීමට රජයට අදහසක් නැහැ කියන එක බොහොම පැහැදිලිව ප්‍රකාශ
වෙනවා. It will be tabled as an emergency act. It will be tabled in Parliament. Experts opine that the 19th Amendment to the Constitution consists of two main factors. One of these factors deals with the merging of two provinces. Certain members of the government, including ministers, have opposed this move, while some factions within the government have shown their approval for it. Constitutional experts point out that if the northern and eastern provinces merge, this would create a province which is proportionally larger than all other provinces and would create an imbalance in the provincial council system in the country. They also note that this amendment will further strengthen the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. The second factor in the new amendment is that an act pertaining to a provincial council or a subject which comes under the purview of a council can be passed in Parliament with a simple majority instead of seeking approval from each and every provincial council.
Former Sri Lankan resident representative to the United Nations, Dr. Dayan Jayathilaka, who is also served as a minister of the Northern Provincial Council, shared these views on the constitutional amendment during the Sirsa TV Sithijaya program, which is scheduled to be aired in the near future.
The Constitution should not be revered as a god. However, the Constitution should be placed above all institutes and officials. We should remember that we should all act within the boundaries of the Constitution. Amendments should be brought to the Constitution in line with the clauses mentioned in it. The amendments should be brought in a democratic manner. What is your opinion on police and land powers? I am referring to the powers of the 13th Amendment.
There
are issues in implementing the 13th Amendment to the Constitution in full. However, I am of the opinion that we will face more issues if we do not implement the 13th Amendment.
Now, views continue to be expressed on the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. Let's take a look at some of them. As a party, we are of the view that the death trap within this should be removed. This is not something that the President or our party requires right now. We won the war after taking into consideration the needs of the country instead of petty political needs. We won the war with the greatest difficulty. What we are doing through this is removing clauses that would benefit Western forces.
රාජිත සේනාරත්න ඇමතිතුමන් තුමාගේ උපන්දිනයේ වෙනුවෙන් පැවැත්වූ උත්සවයකදී අපූර්ව කතාවක් කියලා තිබ්බා. එතුමා කියනවා
Minister Rajitha Senaratne made an interesting statement during a function held to celebrate his birthday. He said there is no harm in granting police and land powers to provincial councils. He said that he had read the Provincial Councils Act and that it did not contain anything about such powers. These powers are mentioned in the Constitution, not in the Provincial Councils Act. Minister Rajitha Senaratne, I accept your challenge. I am prepared to sit down for a debate with you and prove that land and police powers could cause another bloodbath in the country.
ඉඩම් සහ පොලිස් බලතල වලින් රටට වෙන හානිය මේ රට ලේවිලක් බවට යලිපත් වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක ඔප්පු කරලා පෙන්නන්න.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට පළාත් සභාවල් විරුද්ධ වුණොත් වැඩ කරන්න බැරි නීතියේ අනුක්‍රමයේ.
There is a clause in the Constitution which states that if a provincial council opposes an act in Parliament, then the Parliament would not be able to proceed with it. In the second proposal, it was stated that if one provincial council was against an act of Parliament, it could be approved with a two-thirds majority, so as to preserve the supremacy of the Parliament. This proposed amendment states that if a majority of the provincial councils are in support of a move by Parliament, it could be carried out with a mere ballot in Parliament. That is why fierce criticism is being levelled at the government, and that's why they are trying to delay this.
දැඩි විරෝධයකින් රජයට ඉදිරියට ආණ්ඩුවේ මේ යෝජනාව ගෙන යාම ප්‍රමාද කිරීමට උත්සාහ දරනවා.
පළාත් සභා ක්‍රමය අහෝසි විය යුතුයි.
The provincial council system should be abolished. If the political parties cannot reach a consensus, then a two-thirds majority in Parliament is required. Some individuals are attempting to become fake heroes. We need to state to all of them that if the current provincial council system is implemented in the north, then there will definitely be a bloodshed in the future, and these fake heroes should bear responsibility for it.
මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අද ව්‍යාජ මතපතරන සියලු දෙනාම බාරගත යුතුයි.
අපිට යාඥා කරන යුගයක් නෙවෙයි දැන්.
This is not an era for us to remain praying. We cannot play around with this issue. We cannot grant police and land powers. This is the issue that we face, not the joining of provincial councils. I never thought that we would have to speak on such issues. However, we are ready to face anything. What is the use of existing in this manner?
අපි ඒ වුණ දෙයකට මොන දෙන්න කැමතියි දැන්. මෙහෙම ඉඳලා මොකටද අපි?
You're watching Primetime News live here on News First. It's time now for a quick look at the newspaper cartoon of the day.